Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sportsbooks and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is our weekly 3 Men in a Box. Well, today it's me and Matt Grissom over at Grissom Tweets at NCAA Insiders, talking this pretty damn good college football slate. A couple games tonight and, of course, tomorrow. Shout out to the men behind the glass, the one and only Mr. Joseph Shea, Evan Lewis, Mr. Olu, and, of course, Bennett and Cade Horton. Shout out to our new sponsor in partnership with WagerWire. Go, if you have not downloaded the app, to Google Play or where you get your apps. It's free. Sync all your bets. Follow all the sports books. Actually, window shop. Get your best line. And if you're looking to make a little extra cash, jump on over. Send an email to the affiliate at wagerwire.com. Tell them JD at ECSI sent you. Travis and Zach, the doctor, will take good care of you. But without further ado, let's bring in the star of today's show, the one and only Mr. Matt Grissom.
Hello.
Afternoon, sir. Another week in the books.
Week. It just seems to get slower and slower to the end of this tunnel, which is college football. It's kind of disappointing. We're halfway through the season. It doesn't feel real.
Hey, we're 17, 18 days away from college basketball. How's that make you feel?
As a Razorback fan, it makes me feel pretty good, considering our football team is just down bad right now. Positive thoughts, though, this weekend.
Last week, what'd you see, Matt?
We're going to be good. Oh, not our football team, just overall betting. Last week, let's see. I got taken to the woodshed by the books, which is probably my own fault. The public has seemed to take it on the chin here as of late. I'm going to try to bounce back this week and kind of go against the public in a few spots. It's getting tough. I mean, these lines are sharp. Should be nothing new. You know, there a lot more recreational betting going on across the country. It's skewing a lot of things, but I think at the end of the day, the cream rises to the top, and you've got to back the teams that you know will get it done. You had a couple brutal beats last week, like Missouri covering basically the whole game against LSU. LSU gets the pick six. They do the Texas Tech Oregon treatment on all the Mizzou backers. Just a lot of craziness. And then you see it last night in the Houston, West Virginia game. I hope you caught that instead of the snooze fest on Amazon Prime. You get what would have been a bad beat for Houston backers, who had I think a 10-point lead midway through the fourth quarter. They give it up on a fourth down play. West Virginia goes down, scores, takes a 4-point lead, kills the plus 3.5 that people took with Houston. And all of a sudden, 14 seconds left, you've got the quarterback, waving bye to the crowd. And lo and behold, they give up that lead as well on a last-second Hail Mary. So this is college football. We bet on this stuff. These are kids. But damn, it's fun.
It was funny. I was on Twitter last night, and all the Houston backers were. I saw Dan Lefshat from 98.5's tweet. He goes, "Yep, I got it. I deserved it." He was a Houston backer, and then I was following on the phone, and I scrolled all the way to the bottom. I'm like, "Holy shit!" They came back and they. What? And then I go back and see the final play and the Hail Mary, and lo and behold, as you said, they're kids. It's I enjoy kids. I enjoy college basketball. I enjoy college football because for me, I think you get a better bang for your buck. You're going to get the full 60 minutes from. Yeah, there's some clunkers, but you're more often than not at least to see them play out the 60 minutes instead of sitting on the sidelines with load management, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. And a good segue into that because you get a few clunkers. How about this stat? Because I know you're going to ask me about the Arkansas Razorbacks. So let's just get it out of the way. They go down to Tuscaloosa to take on Crimson Tide this weekend. We have lost 16 straight to Alabama. Our last win was at Fayetteville in 2006. I was actually at that game. It was insane. We are 8-25 all time to Bama. We are losing with the average margin of victory for Alabama is 26 points, 42-16 over the last 16 years. So that's not going to get it done. I think Alabama wins and covers in this game. I don't think the temperature in the locker room for Arkansas is very good right now. There's talks that KJ is very unhappy with the play calling, which may explain some of his lackadaisical play right now. I mean, he just looks slow. He looks like he's moving in slow motion. Rocket Sanders cannot get hit, cannot read the line. He can't bust through a hole anywhere. Receivers can't get separation. This team, it just looks like they're spinning their wheels, just ready to end this abysmal season.
The last few weeks you've been talking about Arkansas. Arkansas first half team total overs. I don't know. I assume you have that in front of you. It's an Alabama team that survived at Jimbo Fisher. Their season would have been over with 2 losses. They only have one. I know the first weekend they're at home in Tuscaloosa against LSU, which will be their next big test. I remember a few weeks ago, I was in between a festival. I was staying overnight in Saugus, and I turned on LSU in Arkansas and thinking of you. I was like, well, I'm going to get ready for the Notre Dame Ohio State game. I never changed the channel. I was that infatuated. Arkansas playing inspired ball against LSU. Took that game right down to the wire. Why are we? I know the season that has not turned out the way it is, but this is Arkansas Super Bowl here. You can't see an inspired Arkansas team with nothing to lose here go into Tuscaloosa, at least put up a first half battle.
I mean, you could make the case for it, but really at the end of the day, what have you seen positive in this from this Arkansas team that you can take and build a consistent effort around? I think we rely very heavily on a big play, a big momentum change. Texas A&M was blowing us out before we got the miraculous pick six to start the second half. Jackson Dart didn't look particularly good against Arkansas last week. I just feel like we're at the point of no return where this season is going to be a loss. If we do have an inspiring effort against Alabama, I think you only get it in the first half, and then Nick Saban's going to make his adjustments and he's going to end up beating us. If you remember last year, Jalen Milroe, he came in for an injured Bryce Young against us. We shut down his passing ability, which we've seen this season. Milroe's not a good passer, but he ran all over us. We had no answer for him running. I mean, he broke that 80-yard run to basically seal the deal for Alabama, I think on fourth down. But I could make a case for us to cover, but at this point, I don't see anything that we do consistently well outside of playing defense. And even then, I think we're, an average run-of-the-mill SEC defense. I think at the end of the day, we can make this a dogfight, but Alabama's probably going to win 24-3, 24-10. The 19.5, It seems about right. Any way you take it, I think Alabama probably covers at least by 3 touchdowns.
What is the Arkansas team total first half?
Don't send me down this rabbit hole. It hit once. It was my biggest bet of the year. I was super confident in it. Now I've tried it 2 other times and we've lost both times. I don't know what it is. We look really good. I feel like it's there. Like we'll go down and score in the first drive or two, the scripted plays, and then we cannot get back in that end zone. It is unreal. But I'm looking it up now, obviously buying myself some time. But I would assume with our team total being around 20 for the game, it's probably going to be like 7.5, 6.5. But we'll see.
If they give you
the spread for the first half. Now, this may actually be a playable deal. So the spread for just the first half is 10.5. Total points is 6.5. Juice to the over. Which I mean,
all right,
you're better off taking the plus 10.5 at the minus 110. Because if you hit the over 6.5 for plus 1 or minus 148. I mean, that's a lot of juice to lay. If we score at least a touchdown, you've got to think with Alabama's total at 17.5, you're probably going to cover that 10.5 if Arkansas can muster up 7 to 10 points in the first half.
The dreaded 6.5 juiced minus 148 means, the whole world will be on that. Of course, Arkansas is going to get at least a touchdown. I was hoping it was 7.5 at least, or even if they gave you the 9.5. But okay, so they're saying you're going to get maybe 2 field goals at best. So I'll back off the Arkansas train for now and let you breathe a little easier. I'm going to go initially before we turn the card and the table over to you. I want to talk out loud 2 games and then let you go to your card. The game of the day in my eyes, Washington hosting Oregon. We talked backstage about the Pac-12. 2 undefeated teams clash. In August, we gave Washington Pac-12 winners, and we gave them the team to surprise everyone to get to the Final Four. Now, for them to do that, they're going to have to basically cheat. I don't know a 1-loss Washington Pac-12 winner can get into the Final Four. Everyone I talked to, power rankings had this as Oregon, Washington, a 1-point favorite, and now the line is through this. Give us your breakdown of this game, Washington and Oregon. Right now, the total is going down, Matt. The total's down to 66 in some spots, 67. Washington creeping up to 3, even 3.5 at FanDuel in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have as high of a scoring game. I mean, still in the 60s, but I would probably have leaned under earlier in the week. I made this game Washington -1, and Oregon, I think, is a little more battle tested. They've got a little bit better defense than what Washington has, but their offenses are neck and neck. I think they're number 1 and 2 in offense success rate. The only difference is defense success rate. Washington is 71st and Oregon is 15th. So they've got a slight advantage in defense, I would say. Dan Lanning, I feel like he's probably maybe a grade below what Kalen DeBoer is as far as a head coach. Now, if he gets the players up like he did at the Colorado game, I think Oregon could run away with it. But I think that was a special instance. I like Bo Nix. I like Michael Penix. They're both very good quarterbacks. I'm very excited about this game. So I had to bet on it just a little bit like a bad gambler, your generic gambler does. I took Oregon plus 3.5. I liked getting the hook. Like I said, my number was -1, so I feel like there's some value there. I think we're going to see like a 33-30 type game. Maybe Washington wins. You can get one step closer to cashing your futures ticket, but I think the Ducks are tough, and I feel like Lanning's going to have them ready to play.
That's what I'm afraid of. I think this honestly sets up to last team with the ball probably wins this game. They combined for 97 points a game, Matt.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. 46 points average for Washington, 52 points average for Oregon. It's going to be a showcase of quarterbacks. I hope the NFL scouts are in attendance. Which one, if you're an NFL GM, what quarterback would you take if you had to choose between Nix and Penix?
It's funny we're having this discussion because, you can take a look at both of them and scratch your head. Penix and his struggles at Indiana, Bo Nix, Auburn, just jumps around. Oregon's a perfect fit. If I needed, well, I don't want to flip it to you, so I'll answer this. I think Penix has a higher upside. I think Bo can actually kind of fit the NFL model better, if that makes any sense. I was going to ask you this question. Do you see just any, Tua in Penix? I know they're both lefties, but do you see any Tua in Penix Jr.?
Yeah, I think so. You've got two guys that have the athletic ability to rush if they want to, but they would rather probably stay in the pocket and make an accurate throw. So definitely, I would say Bo may have the advantage just given his time in the SEC. He may be ready to process the game a little faster. I'm curious to see what Penix would do against a top 10 defense. And I don't know if we're going to see it this season, but that would be the biggest thing. I want to see how he responds to blitzers in his face when you put two high safeties out there that are both going to play in the league. That's where I would definitely want to research the film on him a little bit. And not to say Bo Nix is like a world beater out there, but at least he's seen it at the high level of playing, the Alabamas of the world. And when he was at Georgia or when he was at Auburn.
And then the people that the naysayers on Michael Penix, they'll just pull up the tape when Indiana played Ohio State, when they played Michigan, when they had Penn State. He did struggle there, and it was Indiana. So no discredit to the Hoosiers, don't get me wrong there. But again, he had an opportunity to play some stout defenses, not SEC speed, but he did play some good Big Ten defenses, and he didn't do well there. What would a show be on Friday, Matt, without talking not just Friday night games, but Colorado, primetime, Dion, coming off a late field goal at Arizona State. Shout out to our other wheel here with 3 Men in a Box, Quentin Mills, who talked to and broke down that game. 50,000 views on TikTok viewed it and commented on it. So shout out to Q. You were missed. Hope all is well in your world. And of course, we do know you're working. But we got a Colorado team, my number 10.5 with a 59. Public's all in on Prime, and the Buffaloes. We'll use circa now 12.5 and a 58.5. What do you think of Colorado? Who Dion came out and said, hey, stop giving us these late night games. I mean, back east, it's 10 o'clock. I mean, he's looking at an 8 o'clock at Colorado.
This worried me because my line was 17. I made Colorado a 17-point favorite against Stanford. So I didn't touch it because that feels a little too fishy for me as far as the spread goes. Now, I did do a money line parlay Friday night special. Colorado, Tulane. I think Tulane handles Memphis. It was minus 115, I believe, minus 120 tops. But I like those two moneyline parlay plays to cash. So there's a little Friday night sweat for you.
All right, let's go to the granddaddy of them all before we flip the switch over to you. Notre Dame hosting Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans. Lincoln Riley, the Heisman Trophy winner, comes in, faces a two-loss Notre Dame team now. 3 weeks back, Notre Dame loses on the last play against Ohio State. They go to Duke, beat an undefeated Duke team. And then last week laid an egg against an upstart Louisville team. And now the Trojans come in, were 20, 24-point favorites against Arizona, whatever the number was. Double overtime win. Now they travel to South Bend, primetime, 8 o'clock game.
I'm very excited just as a football fan to watch this. This has memories of like Notre Dame and the Bush push with Matt Leinart at USC. So that aside, I'm just excited about the game. Now, I probably would have jumped on Notre Dame if you were giving me +3 with them, because I think this will be a tight game. But when I saw USC +2.5, +3 was -125, I had to get the field goal with the Trojans. And the more that I think about it, the numbers may be there for defense on Notre Dame's side, but what do they have to play for? That concerns me, getting blown out by Louisville last week. You lose the heartbreaker to Ohio State, and you know, if Riley Leonard doesn't go down, they probably lose to Duke too. I just want to pump the brakes on Notre Dame. I think they're a very good team. I like Sam Hartman. Estime, the running back, is phenomenal. However, USC has this guy named Caleb Williams, and he's being coached by Lincoln Riley. And the most close comparison I can give to you is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I don't care what the stats say for USC. Just like Kansas City, Kansas City hasn't played very well this year if you just looked at the box score. So if you did a blind resume of Kansas City, say, against anybody else in the NFL, you may lean towards their opponent, but then you say, oh, by the way, it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. That changes everything. And I think you have the same thing with USC. It's Lincoln Riley and it's Caleb Williams, and I don't care if they get out yarded in a game, if they have to fight back from being down 3 touchdowns. At the end of the day, they have playmakers, and they have one of the best offensive minds in college football in Lincoln Riley. And you have this guy who is a worldly talented quarterback named Caleb Williams. And I don't think they have it in them to go lose this game in South Bend. Therefore, I think USC wins this game outright. I think they have a lot more to play for. They have a gauntlet of the schedule through the Pac-12 for the rest of the season. They've got to win this game to set themselves up for a college football playoff run. Throw the defense out. I get it, but USC's offensive playmakers are going to be the difference in this.
And I like where your eyes are. Again, all the talks Notre Dame, all the talks about USC's defense. And again, I think we forget about Caleb. We forget about Lincoln Riley. We forget about the offense. Weather's not going to be great there. Could be a wet track. I think Notre Dame's going to be able to control the ball. I think Notre Dame's going to be able to run the ball. But at the end, like you said, Caleb versus Sam Hartman, big edge goes to Caleb. So I appreciate where your eyes are there. Before we flip it to you, go over, were you shocked, stunned? Last week, the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma catching 5. We had Oklahoma. We had them also +170 on the money line. Great game. Oklahoma gets out early. Texas takes a lead late. Oklahoma comes back and wins the game. Thoughts on last week's Oklahoma-Texas game?
That is college football in a nutshell. It's why we love it. But hey, listen, like we touched on earlier, the public was all over Texas. They love Texas -5, 5.5. You were on the sharp side and you cashed. Congratulations. I was the idiot that followed the public on Texas. But the eye test said that, Oklahoma hadn't beaten anybody and Texas had beat Alabama. So lesson learned there. And I'm going to go more against the, fade the public from here on out. Like I said earlier, I just feel like that's a better way to handicap it. But am I surprised? No, I think I'm more surprised at how well Dylan Gabriel played in that game. But, at the end of the day, Oklahoma's got a very good team, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see them line up and beat them again. Now, given the opportunity, I don't think they do. I think Texas probably took it on the chin and learned from it, knowing that the one that matters is going to come at the end of the season. So we'll see. I know Paul Stone put out, what would you make the line if they had a rematch? I would say Texas by a field goal.
I just said Texas 3 and a hook here. So here's a funny, I broke this one down for you, Matt. The last year of the Final Four. Next year we go to 12 teams. But just play this scenario out. Oklahoma cheats, Texas cheats. Texas gets them in the Big 12 championship. So they both have one loss. Each loss was against each other. Now, Alabama cheats, beats Georgia, who was undefeated going into the SEC final. So now Georgia has one loss, defending two-time champs. And, undefeated SEC team loses the championship, they automatically go in there. Alabama has one loss. Georgia has one loss. Now let's go over to the Big Ten, where what happens if Penn State wins next week at Ohio State, upsets Michigan at home in November, and then Michigan has one loss, Penn State has one loss, and Ohio State has one loss. The moral of this story is Texas is sitting there with one loss saying, hey, we won in Tuscaloosa. You cannot put that Alabama team in over us. Georgia's sitting there saying, well, we were undefeated. We're going in. And then the Big Ten is, a one-loss Penn State team, a one-loss Michigan team, and a one-loss Ohio State team.
You have a mess to answer your question. What do you have? You have a mess. I think you probably go back to what the preseason rankings were. And as much as I hate the preseason rankings because of situations like this, where they would be used to trump the better team, in my opinion. So you would probably get Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and Michigan in that scenario.
And that mess, we didn't even talk about the Pac-12. What happens if USC is undefeated? What happens if Washington or Oregon? All those three teams have one loss. I mean, it's a big mess.
Yeah. I don't even want to think about it just because it's going to aggravate me that we don't have a bigger playoff as it is. I was never a fan of the 4-team playoff because what it did for college football, like I was a huge bowl game guy. Growing up, I loved getting to spend all day during Christmas break watching football from 11 a.m. until 11 o'clock at night, especially around New Year's. And now it's lost its luster because teams don't care. You have guys sitting out. Why, if you're not playing in a New Year's Six bowl, why play? And it's frustrating it's watered down the product for college football. So I think more the merrier. Put them in a 64-team playoff. I don't care. Give me more football.
That time of the show where I throw you that nice 10-yard button hook, and all the watchers and listeners here today are eagerly awaiting your plays for this weekend, Matt.
All right, so best bet, I'm going to start with the ugly one, Missouri plus 3.5. You've got two fake good SEC teams sitting at 5-1. Kentucky can run the ball. They can't throw it. Devin Leary is not very good. They are taking on a Missouri team with Cook, who ranks 12th in passing yards forced, against a defense for Kentucky that ranks 104th in passing yards allowed. This defense can stop the run, but that's not Missouri's MO. Give me Mizzou and the better quarterback plus 3.5. Then I'm going to jump over to another SEC team that's kind of in a weird spot. South Carolina hasn't been great outside of their cover against Georgia. They play a Florida team who has played better as of late. I've got them both power rated at 51.5. It's a coin flip game, so give me the Gamecocks. They're coming off a bye. They've got a stud wide receiver, as does Florida in Pearsall. But South Carolina playing at home, coming off a bye, coin flip game. I'm taking them on the money line. Don't let me down, Gamecocks. And then I've got a fun fact for you. Thanks to Smitty. Shout out Smitty for giving me this. Wake Forest has not won a game in Blacksburg, Virginia since 1983. It is Virginia Tech's homecoming game. Virginia Tech money line is a play just out of that news right there from Smitty. We've already talked about USC. I'm on +3. BYU. Okay. TCU has lost Chandler Morris. Sorry, my dog is sneezing over here. He's having a day to himself. Morris is out for a few weeks. TCU looks really bad this year. For whatever reason, they've just not had their luck, I guess, that they had last year. They lost to Iowa State 27-14 last week. Iowa State's not good if you've paid any attention to college football. Frogs are down bad. Give me BYU +7, +6.5, whatever. I think BYU could actually pull this upset outright. And then lastly, let's jump over to the man of the hour who's probably not wanting to be in the limelight right now, Mario Cristobal. Let's take a knee for Mario Cristobal. But let's not forget also this Hurricanes team dominated a decent A&M team with their starting quarterback in Weigman earlier this season. Miami is still a very good team, and we've talked about it ad nauseum. Mac Brown always seems to slip up and lose a game at home. Miami Hurricanes +4.5 in this spot, going to Chapel Hill to take on the Tar Heels. Yes, I love Drake May. I'm a huge Drake May, North Carolina fan. But you look at the numbers, Miami's better in just about every facet of the game. Van Dyke, that team, they're going to be pissed off that they lost that game. And I think they rally around each other despite a dumbass for a head coach that they have. I think Miami responds well and could actually pull the upset against North Carolina, but I do think they keep it tight enough to cover the 4.5. So there you go, 6-pack of picks right there. Crack one open and enjoy the first one tonight, which again was the parlay: Colorado money line, Tulane Green Wave money line.
And Tulane. All right. So for a quick recap, there we go. We're looking for a sponsor for Matt Grissom's 6-pack of the weekend. So anyone here with a nice beverage company, maybe we can get Mr. CT Betts and a little Viva action. Maybe we got to reach out to him for a quick 6-pack and sponsorship there. We got Missouri +3.5 versus Kentucky, South Carolina money line versus Florida, Virginia Tech money line versus Wake Forest, USC +3 at Notre Dame, BYU +6.5 versus 7 versus at TCU. And we end with Miami +4.5 at UNC. And tonight's money line parlay, Colorado money line and the Tulane Green Wave money line. As always, Matt, we love to give you the final say where everyone can find your great work, sir.
Follow us along at NCAA Insiders on X. I'm at Grissom Tweets. And all of our picks are posted at NCAAinsiders.com. You can check them out. I've also got all of our Week 7 previews, the 6-pack of previews, sticking with the theme. We've got those posted there in PDF format. You can take a look at all the advanced analytics. Shout out to Parker Fleming for the help on that. And I believe that's it.
All right, everyone. Thank everyone for watching and listening. Thank you all for, as this show grows, so doesn't everything else here. A lot of people on TikTok last week, again, with our buddy, Mr. Quentin Milley. There we go. Dogs are barking today.
Yeah, this is what I'm dealing with over here. Just owns the house right now.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Matt Grissom at Grissom Tweets at NCAA Insiders, and Quentin Mill. Quentin, enjoy your weekend off here. I know you work, and so we'll catch you back on the rebound next week in 1 hour, live from LA with Ron at Ron A Sports. So everyone, enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Cash some tickets with Matt Grissom 6-pack, and we'll see you soon.